Tonight on Nebraska Nightly.
Former Nebraska interim head football coach Mickey Joseph's arrest.
The transition to new head coach Matt Rule as he arrives in Lincoln.
And later, the university's modern parking permit system from the UNL community.
And a vote by the U.S. House of Representatives to avert a rail strike that could cripple commerce.
This is Nebraska Nightly.
Live from the University of Nebraska College of Journalism and Mass Communications, this is Nebraska Nightly.
And happy Friday, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our first and final newscast of the semester. I'm Macy Neumeister.
And I'm Jill Lampkins. For our last fall show, we're finally in our new studio. How exciting, Macy.
I know, it is, Jill, but unfortunately, we have to start with some sour news surrounding Husker football.
That's right, we've got Sam Alessandro on sports with the latest. Sam, so many things going on surrounding the Husker football program. Can you tell us what's happening?
Thank you, Jill. The police department arrested former Nebraska interim head coach Mickey Joseph on Wednesday on suspicion of strangulation and third-degree domestic assault. LPD was dispatched to a residence on a domestic disturbance call Wednesday afternoon. After further investigation, officers arrested Joseph at a separate location and booked him into the Lancaster County Jail. In a new court filing on Thursday, police alleged Joseph attempted to strangle a woman after an argument in his Lincoln home. Joseph pushed the woman onto the couch and choked her. The woman then pushed Joseph away, who followed the woman into the kitchen, grabbed her hair, pulled her to the ground, and punched her in the head as she fell, according to the arrest affidavit. Nebraska Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics Trev Alberts put out a statement, quote, "I was made aware of the charges against Coach Joseph, and given the nature of all the allegations and based on university policy, he has been placed on administrative leave. We will have no additional comment at this time," end quote. Assault by strangulation is a Class 3 felony punishable by up to 3 years in prison. Following the news, new head coach Matt Rule said in an interview on the Jim Rome Show he was shocked and surprised about the news regarding Joseph. Mickey Joseph coached the Huskers for 9 games this season after the firing of Coach Scott Frost.
Thank you, Sam. And as Sam mentioned, the Husker football program named former Temple and Baylor head coach Matt Rule to take over the Huskers.
Here's sports reporter Nathan Hawkins with the details on the announcement Husker fans were waiting for.
A new era at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln is today. Matt Rule was named the 31st head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Fans lined up outside of Memorial Stadium on Monday morning to catch a glimpse of Rule ahead of the press conference to introduce him as the new leader of the Husker football team. The hire was made official just 2 days prior, putting an end to a lengthy coaching search that spanned the majority of the football season. Athletic Director Trev Alberts was adamant that Matt Rule was always the top choice.
But I also want you to know that candidate 1A for me and the University of Nebraska was always Matt Rule from the beginning. And so we're really glad that we ended at that point.
Alberts and Rule both stated that there were points where it appeared the deal would fall through. But on Thanksgiving, the two sides agreed to a 4-year, $74 million deal, landing Rule among the top coaches in the country in annual salary. But Rule says the choice to come to Nebraska wasn't a financial decision.
I could have taken a year off. Some people might think that, my wife was tired of me after 6 weeks. And while that might be a little bit true, that's not why I'm here today. I'm here today because as I talked to Trev, the passion for football was reborn inside me. The passion for young people was reborn inside of me.
Rule's reputation comes as a coach who can rebuild a college program. As head coach at Temple, he led the Owls to one of the most successful eras in program history. At Baylor, he transformed the team from 1 win to 11 wins in the span of 3 seasons. He ventured into the NFL as the Carolina Panthers head coach before being fired in October, shortly into his 3rd season. He believes he can duplicate his success at Temple and Baylor in Nebraska.
We can absolutely get the University of Nebraska and University of Nebraska football exactly where it's supposed to be. It will be hard. It may take time. but it will be done.
Reporting for Nebraska Nightly, I'm Nathan Hawkins.
It'll be interesting to see what Rule does. I'm excited for him. Well, we next have Rebecca Heckel from Channel 8, who captured Rule's arrival to see some fans' reactions to the new hire.
It's been a tough few years for Husker fans, culminating in Scott Frost being fired in early October, and the football team ended their season this past weekend with 4 wins and 8 losses.
At this point, honestly, I just want to leave Memorial Stadium happy a few times next year. I will take any win we can get. There's no such thing as not enough wins.
Replacing interim head coach Mickey Joseph is former NFL coach Matt Rule. Rule comes to Nebraska after coaching the Carolina Panthers for 2 years and a record of turning programs around.
History in the background of turning programs from nothing into something. He's got the exposure at Baylor, so I think that'll be really crucial in helping us become to national relevancy again. So that'll be really good.
Before his first press conference as a Husker, fans got to meet Rule and cheer him on. Many fans are excited about the new head coach and think he has what it takes to get the Huskers to a better record.
I think it's a great hire. He's a proven program builder, which seems to be what we need. So I am excited to get going and get another off-season championship.
As with any new coach, fans aren't expecting an immediate turnaround.
Well, I think anytime that you're getting a new coach, you have to have some patience. You can't really expect greatness right away unless you're, like in Ohio State or in Alabama. But, you got to give him a couple years. I mean, it took him at most 3 seasons to get up to where he was at those at Temple and Baylor. So, I mean, I think, give him a couple seasons, and I'm sure he will see a turnaround here.
Rule gave a quick speech to the crowd before stepping into Memorial Stadium. Reporting in Lincoln, Rebecca Heckel, Channel 8 News.
Well, temperatures are starting to cool down, but today, thankfully, we were able to get some 60-degree weather.
I honestly wish it could be like this all year around, but let's check in with Sydney Thomas for a quick look at weather.
For Lincoln, Nebraska, I would say there is a slight chance. As you can see, in the daytime, it'll be mostly sunny with about a high of 39 degrees and high winds up to 35 miles per hour. Now for the night, there is a possible chance of light snow with a low of 19 degrees with those same high winds. The snow is only around about to get to 0.1 of an inch, so I wouldn't say it's that high of a chance, but if you want to look up and see some snow falling from the sky, I would say you will have good luck with that. Now moving on to our precipitation, you can see we have about an equal chance of snow on December 25th, with below chances around the southern regions and more high chances up in the upper regions of North America. So if you are looking for snow on Christmas for Lincoln, Nebraska, I would say you have a good chance of getting a little bit, but maybe not just snow on the ground. Back to the desk with Jill and Macy.
Thanks, Sydney. We'll have more about the next 7 viewing days with meteorologist Logan Howard after the break.
Many of the brands you love don't love animals like you do. Look at the labels of products you use for a bunny logo signifying they don't lab test on animals. Check the label for those who aren't able. Start making the shift by visiting crueltyfreekitty.com today. Don't let it happen to other Big Ten schools. Go to saveourdinos.org to learn more.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look at our 7-day forecast with meteorologist Logan Howard. Logan, please tell me it can be 60 degrees all week.
And the strong winds. Currently in our region, we are sitting at 58 degrees, mostly sunny, but strong winds from the north, 15 to 25 miles per hour, even gusting up to 40 miles per hour, which is the reason for our wind advisory today. Taking a look at our almanac for today, you can see that we did reach up to 60 degrees today for our high, which is much above our average of 34, but we did not quite get to our record that we set last year. Taking a look at our surface features map, you can see that here across Nebraska, we just had the front move through, which is why our winds shifted from to the south to the north, and we have higher pressure coming in, which means cooler air as well looking into this weekend. Looking at our forecast for tonight, our expected low is much cooler than it was yesterday at 16 degrees, with still very strong northwesterly winds, still strong gusts, but should be diminishing throughout the night tonight for a nice morning tomorrow. Our forecast for Saturday is at 37 degrees, much more average for this time of year, with still clear skies and much calmer winds. Looking at Saturday night, we'll fall back to a low of 24. And then looking at Sunday night, will be a bit warmer with a high of around 45 degrees and still clear skies. Taking a look at our 7-day forecast, you can see that it is very nice and sunny, very clear. But as you know, we are in a drought and we are just not getting any good precip chances in this forecast, with temperatures staying in the mid 30s to mid 40s with lows in the upper teens. Throwing it back to you at the desk, Jill and Macy.
All right, thank you, Logan. The Nebraska Boards of Regents unanimously approved to increase dorm rates for universities in the Nebraska system. General reasons for the increasing rates include helping to cover costs for employee compensation, utilities, food, supplies, and other operational expenses. In Kearney, Lincoln, and at the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture, rates will increase by 3% annually. At the University of Nebraska, Omaha, there will be a 3.4% increase in the 2023-24 year. And this will actually be the final Board of Regents meeting for Jim Pillen before he's sworn in to be Nebraska's governor.
Here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, like most college campuses, one of the biggest things people complain about is parking.
But the Parking and Transit Department at the university is trying to change that by bringing parking into the 21st century. Nebraska Nightly's Jackson Atwall is here with more.
University of Nebraska-Lincoln's Parking and Transit Department is moving to new heights in technology.
A new plan is in place to enhance the efficiency of parking for students, staff, and faculty.
This project actually began with a kind of a bigger project that we started working on with UNO and UNMC, how we could operate under one software package.
UNL started with the first part of the plan this past summer. Students who buy commuter parking passes do not receive physical passes, but instead have the parking pass linked to their license plate.
Having a vehicle with cameras looking at license plates versus having someone having to get out and look at individual permits and hang tags, looking for counterfeit, lost, stolen, having all kinds of different lists. Having that automated is a huge efficiency.
Carpenter also says that it eliminates the time between buying permits and receiving them. There's no more waiting in line for permits or waiting for them to arrive in the mail. It also helps with people who damage or lose their parking passes. Omar Almari, a student worker for Parking and Transit, says that the new system is faster and more convenient.
This is us on campus. This is not Park and Go. Park and Go is for the city. People park in Park and Go meters because they know that we're more strict because of the cameras that we have. So it's more like a competitive advantage.
The final step of the plan will provide students and staff a new parking app.
We're going to get information about how parking lots are being used, the turnover, when they fill up, and all that information is going to go to an app that we can students can download, faculty, staff can download, and then they'll have the information to make their decisions on, well, where am I going to park? Once we get to that end, that's going to be a really big enhancement for customers.
The plan is estimated to take up to 3 to 5 years, and Carpenter says that once in place, it could reduce the cost of parking passes.
In national news, Ukraine's First Lady Olena Zelenska on Tuesday appealed to the British public not to forget the tragedy facing Ukraine this Christmas, days after the country marked 9 months since the first day of Russia's invasion. Zelenska saying in a BBC radio interview that she knows Ukrainians are very tired of the war, but they have no choice, that they can get used to the tragedy and focus on their own important things in life. The First Lady's words come amid wave after wave of Russia attacks on Ukraine's critical infrastructure that have left millions of civilians without power and bringing themselves for a freezing winter with no central heating. Zelensky said Russia was aiming to terrorize people in Ukraine this coming winter to scare them and have them thinking they might not survive the cold, the darkness without internet, adding the winter is treacherous and that's what Russia leaders are counting on.
And in other news, the U.S. Senate passed a bill Thursday narrowly avoiding a rail strike yet again. CNN's Manu Raju reports on a labor dispute that could bring havoc to the holidays.
The Senate averting a devastating blow to the U.S. economy, voting to prevent a railway strike after a tense week of negotiations.
On the one hand, we don't want to shut down the economy. On the other, we don't want to say to rail workers, if you have a heart attack or you break your leg, you either show up to work or you're going to lose your job.
Lawmakers recognizing that a strike could have disrupted food supplies and intensified sky-high inflation and send the economy reeling.
Do you have concerns about Congress intervening here?
Of course. Got concerns also about a rail shutdown, so that's what I'm considering.
Tentative deal, now enforced by Congress, was brokered by the Biden administration, major railways, and 8 of 12 labor unions. But that plan lacks paid sick leave for workers, so progressives on Capitol Hill demanded that the Senate guarantee at least 7 days for rail workers.
It would be an absolute outrage if these workers did not get at least 7 days paid sick leave.
So this is a small number of dollars for their bottom line to take care of their workers the way that they should.
President Biden defended the deal at the White House today when questioned on paid sick leave.
What I've made it really clear is that what was negotiated was so much better than anything they ever had.
But the amendment to mandate paid sick leave fell 8 votes shy of the 60 needed for passage, amid opposition from most Republicans who say that Congress should not dictate the terms of the negotiations. Moderate Democrat Joe Manchin agreed.
I'm concerned about us jumping into that when you have 8 unions have agreed to the package that they negotiated with the Department of Labor and with the president. I'm very reluctant on the other for us to jump in and set a precedent.
Behind the scenes, the lobbying campaign intensified. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg joining a private lunch of Senate Democrats and demanding action.
The Senate cannot leave until we get the job done.
While Republicans have been skeptical, the plan winning the support of Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell, even as the top House Republican Kevin McCarthy opposed the deal when it passed the House on Wednesday.
The whole law includes a negotiation.
After the break, we will have an update on Matt Rule's coaching staff.
As well as highlights from Nebraska volleyball, its first round NCAA tournament action. That's next in sports.
Hey, hey, go, go. These races are so good to go. Hey, hey, go, go. These races are so good to go.
Toilets can use 5 to 7 gallons per flush, making it the main source of water use in a home. You can lose more than 20 gallons of water a day from a single drippy faucet. Kitchen faucets use about 1.5 to 2 gallons per minute, whereas older faucets use more water. Wasting water is wasting time. Stop water waste now.
Welcome back, everyone. As our sports anchor Sam Alessandro talked about earlier, there's a new head coach, which means a lot of changes coming for Husker football.
And beyond that, let's hear from Sam on what's going on in Husker volleyball and basketball.
Yeah, thank you, Jill and Macy. It's really been a whirlwind of a week here for the Nebraska football program. Nearly a week into the job now, new head coach Matt Rule is beginning to finalize his staff, with multiple coaches already having been announced. Several assistants who have coached with Rule at his previous stops are joining the staff, as well as some who have not worked with the new coach before. Marcus Satterfield will be the new Husker offensive coordinator. This comes after having the same position at South Carolina, where he helped contribute to both upsets of both Tennessee and Clemson in back-to-back weeks. Former UConn running backs coach E.J. Barthel will be the new running backs coach for the Huskers, and some of the Other coaches a little bit more familiar with Rule include special teams coordinator Ed Coley, defensive backs coach Evan Cooper, D-line coach Terrence Pot Roast, yes, that is his nickname, Knighton, and new strength and conditioning coach Corey Campbell. A few more assistants still to be named. Don't be surprised if that is announced in the next couple of days. And this new coaching staff will have its hands full with a lot changing in college football with both NIL and the transfer portal. Expect a much different football team next season. Some players have already entered the transfer portal for the Huskers, including standout freshman linebacker Ernest Hausman, freshman receiver DeColdis Crawford, and offensive lineman Brant Banks. Transitioning to volleyball now, Nebraska hosted the first round of the NCAA tournament last night as a 2 seed in the Louisville region. They faced off against Delaware State at the Divinity Center. And it was a packed crowd in Lincoln, and Husker Nation had plenty to cheer about in this one. Huskers dominated this one from the get-go, something they desperately needed to do after suffering back-to-back defeats to end the regular season. Nebraska native Lindsey Krause led the way with 10 kills, as well as Allie Batenhorst also had a solid night with 8 kills. Nebraska showcased its dominance, sweeping Delaware State in 3 sets. And the Huskers will play one last game in Devaney tonight against the Kansas Jayhawks for the second round of the NCAA tournament is slated to start at 7 p.m. And moving to Nebraska men's basketball, the Huskers are coming off a win Sunday over Florida State, and they returned home at Pinnacle Bank Arena Wednesday against Boston College. Here are the highlights. We start this one off opening minute. Jawan Carey says, boom, not in my house. Let's take another look at that one. What a play from Gary. Impressive defensive play early on. Gary shows he can be a two-way player as well. Converts on the contested shot. He finished with 10 points on the night. Then it's Keisei Tominaga, drives into the lane for a 2-pointer. He was on fire on the night. Then Sam Griesel misses a 3 here. Offensive rebound from Blaise Kita. Back to Tominaga from the top of the key for 3. Keisei, have yourself a day. He finishes the game with a team high 23 points. And Kita, again, another tough rebound, finds Gary for the 2 points. Players on the bench loving it, and the Huskers began to pull away. As we see here, beautiful reverse layup from Sam Griesel. Huskers win their second straight game, defeating Boston College 88-67. And Nebraska improved to 5-3 on the season after that win, and they have another day to prep before they take on a big in-state rival, the top 10 ranked Creighton Blue Jays. The Blue Jays had just lost last night on the road in a hard-fought game against number 2 Texas to fall to 6-2 on the year. The in-state rivalry will be played on Sunday at 3:30 at the CHI Health Center. And that's a wrap up on our sports for the week, but stay tuned. Entertainment is next after the break.
Many of the brands you love don't love animals like you do. Look at the labels of products you use for a bunny logo signifying they don't lab test on animals. Check the label for those who aren't able. Start making the shift by visiting crueltyfreekitty.com today.
Toilets can use 5 to 7 gallons per flush, making it the main source of water use in a home. You can lose more than 20 gallons of water a day from a single drippy faucet. Kitchen faucets use about 1.5 to 2 gallons per minute, whereas older faucets use more water. Wasting water is wasting time. Stop water waste now.
Hey, hey, go home! These racist dogs have got to go! Hey, hey, go home! These racist dogs have got to go!
Don't let it happen to other Big Ten schools. Go to saveourdinos.org to learn more.
Welcome back. Lincoln has a lot of holiday plans here, and Reed Greger from Entertainment has a lot to come with us. Jill, you got any plans for the winter break?
I'm planning on going home, but I'm excited to see what's here in Lincoln. I might come around over New Year's. So let's toss over to Reed Greger with more.
Do you have a green thumb and a love for art? Well, Suzanne Spays is taking art to a new creative level with her depictions of flowers and plants. Spays is the artist behind Oshibana, Nebraska, an artwork display showing real flowers and plants by drying and pressing them onto canvas. The exhibit is on the second floor of the Nebraska Innovation Campus and is on display all day December 3rd. The holiday season is just around the corner, and you can find a new holiday tradition at the Lincoln Children's Zoo. The zoo is hosting Zoo Lights, a display of holiday lights that is one of the largest in the Midwest. Patrons have the opportunity to walk through the park, enjoy food and refreshments, and see the wonderful light display. Zoo Lights will be open to the public throughout December.
All right, thank you so much, Reed. I think I'm gonna have to go check out those Christmas lights at the zoo.
Me too. I thought about it last year and I didn't end up going, but maybe we'll have to make a date.
Absolutely. Well, it is finally December 2, which means it is finally appropriate to get in the holiday spirit, as Reed was saying.
And with this being our last show of the semester, we wanted to thank our professionals and residents for all of their help.
To do so, I talked with each one of our PIRs to hear about some of their holiday favorites.
Just 2 years ago, my middle daughter, Nora, the #1 thing she wanted in the world was a pet rat. So it was actually a couple days after Christmas, there was a shelter. We were visiting family in Wisconsin, and there's a Humane Society there, a shelter that had a rat up for adoption, and we went and got her rat. And I don't think I've ever seen a kid so happy on Christmas over a rat.
I got a Game Boy growing up. That was like one of my favorites, or a GameCube too.
My wife does try to get our family to wear Christmas jammies every year, and we're supposed to match Christmas pajamas, and I'm not really into that, but I'm going with it, and we're doing it again this year.
We have a tradition where we would run out in our bare feet in the first snowfall of the year and see how far we could run around in our bare feet in the front in the neighborhood.
I grew up in an Air Force family. And every New Year's, we moved around a ton. Every New Year's, we would write down where we thought we would be the next year. My dad would stick it in his wallet, then he'd get out what we predicted the year before, and we'd see if we were right. I was in like 8th grade before I ever got it right. That's how often we moved around.
This wreath that you make out of cornflakes, and then you take food coloring and you color it green, and then you put Red Hots on it.
This is what happens when you have older kids, is we like to experiment with drinks.
Building snowmen. It's pretty rare in Nebraska though to have like the good snow that like sticks and you can like actually get it big, but when you can, it's pretty fun.
We moved to Germany when I was in the 3rd grade. And my dad got a job as a teacher on a military base over there. And the first Christmas, we went skiing, and I was hooked.
I think A Christmas Story.
Spinal Tap.
I like to watch the Lord of the Rings movies around the holidays.
Do You Hear What I Hear by Bing Crosby.
There's a song called The Christmas Song by Weezer.
I love The Grinch. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Jill, my favorite Christmas movie is The Grinch. What is yours?
I gotta say the Santa Claus, and they have that new show on Disney Plus too. It's pretty good. All right, well, again, thank you so much for joining us for this very special show.
Yes, our first show in our new studio and our last show of the semester.
We wish all students good luck during finals week and dead week, which is the next week.
And I hope you all have a beautiful holiday break, and congratulations to sport anchor Sam Alessandro, who in December graduates as a 2022 graduate.
This has been Nebraska Nightly, produced in Anderson Hall on the University of Nebraska-Lincoln campus. We'll see you next year as we finish with Christmas lights in downtown Lincoln. See you in 2023.